Welcome to another SoCal Sports Report podcast. I'm John Stellman here with Vince Morales and John Adams. A lot going on tonight. In fact, a lot going on live as we speak. The Ducks have they've dropped the puck in Nashville, and we've got the NBA lottery coming up in a few minutes. So we'll get into that as soon as there's something there to report. Let's start with the hockey. Ducks and Nashville. No score in that game. 2:47 to go in the first?
Yeah, exactly. 2:47.
I looked up some stats because I was curious as to the advantage that the alleged home ice has in the playoffs. Through the first 66 games this year, 33 home teams have won and 33 road teams have won. In fact, in 2012, 39 home teams won, 47 road teams won. So I don't see where that they talk about that advantage, and I can't see where it's. There may be an advantage. I'm not denying that, but certainly is not overwhelming. Nashville is undefeated at home in the playoffs, 4-0. They've also gone 4-2 on the road. Actually, they've gone 3-3 on the road, but undefeated at home. So the Ducks have that to fight with tonight. Ducks have been 4-1 on the road. So they won 2 in Calgary. They won 2 in Edmonton. So they've proven to be a pretty good road team. So we've got that battle coming up. So let's turn to John for some insight on that.
I wasn't able to watch the first game. I was on a little minute vacation. Vince kind of probably could fill in a little bit about game one, but what I had heard through the rumor mill was a very evenly back and forth type of hockey game. I'd heard that the Ducks actually played much better in the third period, but just wasn't able to get anything going. You're dealing with a really good defenseman there, and a guy Rene who's 6'7", and is playing very good hockey at the moment. So I don't know, Vince, if you want to kind of go into game one. I was at game two, so I can talk a little bit more about game two. But, I think this is going to be, after watching, Sunday's game, I think this is going to be, a big – it's a slug. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be back and forth. So I don't know, Vince, if you want to comment.
Yeah, that first game, it was a lot of what typically, if you're a Ducks fan, you're thinking, keep it close, come out strong, hit them hard, don't let them get up. But again, the Preds came out, scored early, but the Ducks got it back. The Preds looked like they were sort of in control and taking charge. Yeah. The Ducks' only goal was the goal was on their first shot, right? So they tied the game. It was I think the first period was 15 shots on goal to 6 Preds over the Ducks, and the Ducks had 1 go in. Which was just a great shot and maybe a little unexpected and caught Rene off guard. And so 1-1, and then Preds go up in the second period, and it looked like the Ducks just weren't quite there. And then the third period was a much better period for the Ducks. They were skating well, and they tied it and sent it to overtime.
I don't think the NHL did them any favors scheduling them to open that series one day after a emotional physical series with.
Yeah, I was interested. It was interesting. I thought it was going to go towards the weekend or maybe start on Monday, but that thing started 2 days later, and that was 7 games of just smash mouth hockey, and I think I agree. I think they were probably on the weaker side.
Plus the Predators
going into it, and the Preds had plenty of time. And, after watching game 2 a little bit, it's exactly what Vince talked about. Is we have trouble getting ahead in the first period. I mean, the last 4 or 5 games, we led 1-0 in the game against the Preds, but then they came back with 2 quick ones. But I think, if I'm right. But We're down 2-0 in a blink of an eye, on Sunday.
Exactly.
But really, the second period, really, we just took charge. And, I think it's just going to be one of these things where you're going to have to hit them hard. You're going to have to punch them a little bit and push them up against the boards.
They're already crying about Kessler.
Yeah, Kessler and the Anderson is a Johansson or whatever going back and forth. It's actually kind of funny. In fact, Kessler was saying today, he was quoted by saying, he's not my friend and he's never going to be my friend, so I could care less what he says.
Exactly.
And, that's typical Kessler, right?
It struck Johansson's. Look, I know he was angry and they put the microphone in his face,
right.
Right after the game and after a very tough loss, and he'd been taking a beating all game. But come on, Johansson.
Yeah,
grow up here.
Exactly,
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You can hit me in the groin. I don't know how anybody can root for that guy, his friends or his family. It's like, come on.
And then Melrose was so perfect. He's like, this guy's already in his kitchen. Kessler's already got him in his kitchen. He's like, he's already thinking about him.
Done.
But one of the things that I noticed in game 2 is Rene's so big that you can beat him above his shoulders.
Well,
now, if you can get it above his shoulders, you can beat him, but he's very good down below. Kind of like Freddie Anderson was the same way, big guy. And, when his legs are down, he's really tough to beat, but it's tough to get his shoulders up.
I saw some quotes after that second game where that's what the Ducks said.
Yeah.
Beat him high.
You have to beat him high, but you got to. It's
too
very
good
limited.
down low.
It's very limited on where you can go, because he's such a big guy. But I just after watching it was just it's going to be tough games from this point on. The second round is never too easy. Third round's never too easy. It's just it is what it is. It's you just can't make mistakes. And one of the goals that we gave away was the Preds are very good on taking advantage of your mistakes. Bad pass, went 1-on-1. Gibson had no chance, and you just can't do that against them. I know that we're going to take some chances to try to get the puck to the wing and try to create space, but if you don't and they pick it off, it's all over. We're buried, right? But they have very good defensemen. They're going to be in every single game, and we just cannot make mistakes coming down the stretch, and that's what's going to be. And it was great to see Gibson really step it up with about 6 minutes left. He was swimming like a fish and made some great plays. And that's what it's going to take if you want to go to the Stanley Cup. So
I just want to interject. We're in the top 3. We made it in the top 3.
Whoa!
So
really? We got it! Congratulations!
So it's
Laker fans.
Laker fans. We're in the top 3.
Wow! It was 46%, right, or something like that.
That's right. They had a 46% chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So now there is a chance. It's protected. They're keeping their top 3, and we'll find out after the commercial break who gets the 3-2 and the 1. So it went like this: the number 4 went to the Suns, 5 to the Kings. The Orlando got 6. The Wolves are 7. T-Wolves are 7. Knicks 8. Mavs 9. And then I guess Sacramento also had a second pick from somebody else in that. So they are 10th. So the Kings will pick 5th. Sacramento Kings will pick 5th and 10th. Which, obviously they were hoping for something a little higher.
Yeah.
And so it's down to the Celtics from Brooklyn.
And the 76ers or no?
And the Lakers. And was it the Sixers who had the other pick? I thought it was the Sixers that the...
the Sixers and the Lakers were.
The Lakers.
Yeah,
so we still don't know where they're picking 1, 2, or 3. We know they're picking.
We know they're
in
picking in the top 3. So they're keeping it, which is again that's also good news because now they will get to they lose their number. They get to keep their second pick, so they will lose their number 2 next year to Orlando and their number 2 in 2009.
But they keep that number 1 pick.
2019, excuse me.
They keep that number 1 pick in 2019.
They keep their 1s.
Correct.
Yeah, they keep their 1s.
Beautiful.
They lose their 2s.
Correct.
Yeah, that could have been a devastating setback. I tell you, that could have been a brutal setback.
It could have been, but
that's great.
anybody who thought that the NBA were conspiracists, this is one of those things where. From the very beginning,
remember
the Lakers said, we're keeping this, we're getting it. So
David Stern and Patrick Ewing,
right? Yeah. And if we're going back to hockey now, it's 0-0 after one in the Preds.
I also saw something in the papers kind of interesting. The Ducks are actually tied now with the Kings for this. Only teams in hockey to come back from 2-goal deficits 4 times in the same postseason. The Kings did it in 12, I think. The Ducks have come back from 2-goal deficit 4 times in this series. And they and the Kings are the only teams that have done that.
And kind of watching the game and seeing how it was kind of just flowing together, I think we're seriously missing Patrick Eaves.
Tremendous.
No
doubt.
He's just that guy that is always around the net, that found that puck that bounced off,
exactly.
The goalie or off a defender to find it. He played 20 games for us and in 14 points. And in the postseason, he's only played 7 games, has 4 points. But, he had 14 points and 11 goals in those 20 games. And I think we're missing that.
He's always
tremendously.
around the net.
He's scrappy. He's not that guy that's going to go push you around like a Cogliano is the kind of guy. He's going to go after you and hit you, but he's also going to be fast and make some things happen. Eaves is that kind of guy that floats around the ice and you just don't. Oh, there he is, and then he's scoring.
Yeah.
And they're a great pickup from Dallas. Yeah, and we don't. It's just last time I heard about him, he was on crutches. So I don't know where he stands.
Now that they're into the conference finals, I think that upgrades the pick Dallas gets from the Ducks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But who cares?
Yeah, no, at this point, who cares?
Let's win now.
The other guy that they're missing on defense is Bieksa.
Yes, exactly. I have that written down.
Arguably a bigger deal,
right.
From my vantage point,
right.
down, Eaves, sure, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. But Bieksa, they've had some problems giving up some goals.
Yep.
And that's definitely an issue. It's definitely going to be a problem. This is a good sign for the Ducks tonight, to go scoreless,
right.
To hold Nashville scoreless, get into that second. But obviously, because they can score, the Ducks can put pucks in the net. So you're not too worried about that. But for them to have held Nashville,
I think it's a good momentum builder to get through that first period. Quiet the crowd a little bit.
And because we're missing that Eaves guy, it's just really, Perry's going to have to step it up. Perry's going to have to make some things happen. I mean, I looked at some stuff. I mean, he had 53 points with 19 goals, and in the postseason, he's got 2 goals. Right, one was huge in overtime, but in 2015 and 16, he had 34 goals in the season, and he had 7 goals in the postseason. I mean, it's just, we need him to produce.
He needs to turn the clock back about 4 or 5 years.
Right, exactly. And I just think the amount of money that we're paying him and the contract that he has, and with Getzlaf really holding his own and playing great hockey, he needs to do the same. And I'm just, stupid penalties and I don't know. It's mediocre hockey out in my eyes.
Yeah, he hasn't. It's not the Corey Perry we're used to seeing. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think more good news for the Ducks is they continue to win the faceoff battles. Mm-hmm. So they're winning draws.
Yes.
52-48. I think in their second game in their second game 56% to 44% in that first game in the first game and 52-48 in the second. And also the Preds have not scored a power play goal.
Yeah.
That's good news.
And we finally did.
Yeah.
Finally. Exactly.
That's good news for the Ducks. Yeah. So,
but in the first period on Sunday, outshot 10-5. Ended up getting outshot for the whole entire game, 32-27. I mean, we're getting outshot, and that's, I like that in the second period we kind of gained back that difference, but it's still, it's. I like that we're going to be competitive. It's not. I hope we don't run it. I don't think Nashville's the team that's going to show up and they're so fast they're going to beat you 7-0 or But
right.
I seriously think we still need to keep pushing them up against the boards and hitting them. To let them know that you need to be physical against those guys because they have a little bit of speed, but they also have some big guys back in defense that can hold their own.
Right.
So
right, I think for the Ducks, the thing that they need to be careful of, you're in Johansson's head, you're in Nashville's head a little bit, But that's when you start to get out of your game, when you start, going after the hits, trying to, build those numbers, checks and hits, and that's when you start to fall out of your game. So they got to keep that balance of being on attack, dumping it, getting it in the zone, and really cycling it, and then breaking away when they can, getting those good passes and those outlets. But they can't fall into that just trying to keep hitting the Predators because number one, the Predators will hit back, and number two, you'll just slip right out of your game plan, and you don't want to do that. Especially don't want to do it on the road. You've got to get one back. You've lost home ice advantage. Not that there is much one, as you were saying before. Not that there's a lot, but this feels like a 7-game series.
Yes,
it feels like it's coming back. But you've got to take one back so that you have a little margin for error.
I think it's easier to win a 3 or 4 than it is to win a 6.
Yeah.
If they have to win game 6 to get the home ice back, it's going to be over.
Yeah.
It'll be over in 6.
Yeah, I agree. Pittsburgh
Ottawa series is pretty tight, huh?
Yeah, boy. That just came down to the very end almost.
It did, yeah.
I tell you, I watched a little bit of SportsCenter, and the Kessel thing, is it Kessel? Is that his name?
Yeah, Kessel.
Is just absolutely hilarious to watch on how vocal he is on if somebody makes a bad pass or somebody does this, and he comes in, he starts screaming at his coach. But you know what? It's like the coach said. He goes, you know what? I'd rather have 5-6 guys that are feisty and really want this than a bunch of deadbeats sitting on the bench, wanting just there for the ride. So, but I think Pittsburgh's going to be tough. I think they're going to be really tough.
So, the Great White North's last hope,
That's right.
the Ottawa Senators.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. The thing I was going to say about the Senators is I don't think anybody really expected them to be here. When it comes to the kind of goals that that they were scoring, that was just not. The numbers just didn't add up. It didn't feel like they were going to be able to score enough to advance to the second round, let alone the conference finals. And so, but they've been holding their own. They've been getting some good, passionate, emotional play, and they're sitting in a good
Nothing
spot.
wrong with a split in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
They were
That's
a number
tough
2.
place.
They were a number 2 wild card in the East. That's as low as you can get.
Yeah.
That's the last team in.
Yeah.
But another thing too, if
Bobby Ryan
won that whole game for him.
Bobby Ryan, ex-Duck.
I'd still take Jacob over.
Yeah.
If Ottawa does upset Pittsburgh, Ducks would have home ice in the finals if they get by Nashville.
Gotcha.
That's right.
That's a good point.
That's right. And it would be a rematch of that 07 series.
Yep.
With the Senators looking for some revenge. It's we can't look too far ahead.
No.
There, the Penguins can score, and Fleury can be a stopper.
They're very balanced.
Yeah.
They're very, very, and very, they've been there. A lot of them have been there.
Yeah. That was a very, very tough series against the Caps. It was very, so a lot of energy expended. So, we'll see what happens. The Pittsburgh is certainly capable of sneaking into Ottawa and taking 2. It's like when does that coach turn into a pumpkin? Is it going to strike midnight for the Senators because they've just been living a charmed life here in the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, that series was kind of like the Pittsburgh-Washington series was kind of like the Ducks in Edmonton as far as, intensity and aggressive play and physical. And so they came, Pittsburgh came in and lost their opener.
Yeah.
Just like the Ducks did to the next round. Okay. Any more news?
I've got the news. I've got the news. So we'll go down.
Ding,
so
ding,
now
ding, ding,
we've got
ding,
the,
ding,
we've got,
ding,
I
ding,
think,
Vince
the
has
top,
got the news.
ding, ding. Dateline, San Juan Capistrano. So we'll go back down the top 10 again. So the Sacramento Kings in the lottery get to pick 10th. The Mavericks 9th. The Knicks 8th. The T-Wolves 7th. Orlando 6th, and then also the Kings get a 5th round. So like we said, the Sacramento Kings get 2 picks in the top 10. And then the good news came, Suns get 4th, which meant that the Lakers were in the top 3.
Great.
So it's protected. They get to keep it. Very excited about that. And even better than that, the Sixers get the 3rd, Lakers get the 2nd, and the Celtics get the 1st.
So that's the update.
That's the update. It's all in.
Pick.
So 1, 2, 3 is Celtics, Lakers, Sixers. I think it's one of those things where, as far as the Lakers are concerned, and what the Celts needed, it kind of feels like whether they picked 2nd or 3rd, and if they were able to get it protected like they did, that they were going to get their choice of who they wanted, whoever was at the top of their list. But I don't know about that. We've talked a little bit about the Celtics. It's the first number 1 Eastern Conference seed to get the first round pick the same year since the Lakers were the first in their conference, first seed in their conference, and then ended up picking James Worthy number 1 overall. So the Celtics... Everybody says, well, they've got Isaiah Thomas. Why do they need a point guard? Mm-hmm. Isaiah is going to be looking for big dollars,
money, yeah.
some big money. Now, for
Is
the
he
Celtics,
a free agent?
not yet.
Is he a free agent?
No, not yet. But
he will be.
But he will be. And at some point, once he gets over that, his next contract is the important one.
Right. Yeah.
And so the Celtics have to be thinking about that. I think it would be smart for the Celtics to pick a point guard there, either Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball.
Yeah.
I think that could be something where they're looking down the future. Isaiah Thomas is very good off the ball as well. So if you were to bring in Lonzo Ball or Markelle Fultz,
he'd play 2.
You can Isaiah can play the 2. Markelle is a big kid. He can play somewhere else, Lonzo somewhere else, and you develop another guy. They might do that. I think Celtic fans are looking for them to make a big splash with somebody who maybe fits their, a 3 guy or something like that, or in their lineup.
So you think they're going to go after the Josh, the kid from Kansas, or the kid from Kentucky?
Josh Jackson,
Yeah.
possibly, or Tatum, or Fox.
What about the kid from Kentucky? Is he a 2? Molink or?
I'm not sure what he is. I think he is a 2.
Is he a 2? Okay.
I saw something Draft Express. I don't know how creditable they are. Their mock draft had Boston taking Markelle, number 1.
I think that's smart. I think
I don't think Danny Ainge wants to deal with
I don't think so.
Ball.
Either.
I don't think he wants to deal with him.
I think that's good. That would be different. I think having Lavar, who has just been such a loudmouth, who we were talking about off air, that he's sort of building his empire with these kids. So they're selling shoes and they're selling clothing. But he's also starting a production company and a media wing to this empire. And he's also, it looks like he's going to be Lonzo's agent and management. So he's going to be calling the shots for this kid for a while. I mean, remember, Lonzo is only 19. So whether Lavar starts to dial it back, if he thinks it's going to cost his kid money, because he's a businessman first and foremost, and I think we all know that. If it feels like it's going to cost his kid money, he may dial it back, and just that you let the kid go. And I think that if he goes to the East Coast, that's probably better situation, because then Lavar's probably not gonna uproot his wife.
He's got 2 more kids.
He's got 2 more kids playing high school ball. His wife just had a stroke. I don't think I think that's part of the reason why he keeps talking about Lonzo staying and playing for LA, getting picked by LA, staying in Los Angeles, staying locally.
Well, I hope your letter to the Laker front office was well received.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I haven't heard any reply yet. But that was my article. It was an open letter to Magic and Rob Pelinka saying, do not draft Lonzo Ball because you're going to get Lavar Ball with him, and we just don't need the headaches. Look, I think Lonzo Ball is a terrific player. I think he's got a lot of skills. I think he's going to develop into, an all-star. I think it's too early to tell how good he can be. He does have an odd shot, an odd release. It's very different getting and making your own shot in the NBA than it is in college. But it's an exciting day for the Lakers, because they're going to get, one of the top 3 best, players.
Do you think it's important for the Lakers, splash-wise, to sign Lonzo? You think that would create excitement?
I guess my question to you is, they draft him. What do you do with what you have?
I think that they're still coveting a Paul George. You need to move a piece. Could that be D'Angelo? It could. Jordan Clarkson? It could. It's going to be a logjam. Right at the 1 and 2. Because Jordan can play a little 1, but he can also be off ball. They've been experimenting with D'Angelo Russell at off ball as a number 2 guy. I don't think they're worried about that so much. I think you could go with, you can make something happen with all of those guys. And what a young core. But that's going to be a very young core for the Lakers for a long time. And I think what you do is you get the best guys available. You whoever is ranked number 2 on your board, you go get.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether it's a precise fit for what you're doing right now, you got to go get it, because then it opens up things. Then it becomes a bargaining chip, a piece. I think what happens now is you're going to hear more from Lavar and Lonzo about where they want to be. Things like, hey, Boston, don't bother drafting Lonzo.
Another Eli Manning, San Diego Charger scenario.
Don't, or Elway, don't bother drafting me. I will not sign with you. I think that's the Lavar dialogue. The Lonzo is play wherever.
Yeah.
But any place that he goes, if you look at that, Celtics, let's say he goes one of the top 2, any place he goes, there's somebody in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. If not 2 with the Lakers, if you count Clarkson and
so there you go, right? Then you got Dad talking about, like, why is my kid sitting? My kid's better than that kid.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're going to deal with all that stuff.
And I think that's the problem. It's sort of a pick your poison. There's thorns on every rose. The Lakers have their own television contract network, right? So they need a lot of content. The media loves this guy. They love Lavar. When Lonzo talks, he's a pretty eloquent kid. He seems like a nice kid. But Lavar is his mouthpiece. That's a win for the Lakers to get a player that good and a guy who gets ratings. Especially when you got 24 hours of content you need to fill on your own television station, right? So it sort of feels like, if you're looking at it objectively, it sort of feels like a match made in heaven for the Lakers. Top caliber kid, with this Kardashian-like dad reality program.
Yeah.
Let's monetize this and move it forward. But that honeymoon will end quickly, and I don't know that that's how. Everybody I've heard said that Lavar makes no difference on how we're going to draft. Doc Rivers said, if we were able to draft him, we'd draft him. It doesn't matter who is.
I think I look for him to, if they can acquire Paul George, and they still have cap space to sign a max deal. If they make the right move, they could bring a couple of guys in there, a couple of veterans to stabilize that youth core, show a little leadership, be good in the room, and that might go a long way.
I think that's a great point, but I think it's got to be multiple people. George is just not going to come in and say, "I'm going to babysit 5 guys."
No, he needs help.
I think you're going to have to get 2 or 3 guys that are going to have to come in. Now, the third guy might not be the best guy, but he's going to be great in that locker room, and he's going to be great off the bench. But I think you're going to need a couple guys to help that.
If you trade one of the young kids, you've got to be able to put either Dang or what's the other guy?
Mozgov.
One of those in that package.
I'm sure the Lakers would love to do that. I'm not sure the Pacers would want to take a $16 or a $19 million contract. They
still got years left on them.
Mozgov, absolutely, they got a lot of years left on them. I'm sort of going the other way on this. I think that why not? If Paul George is willing to come.
He wants to come.
If he's willing to come, and you are willing to give up the number 2, and I think Brandon Ingram's the untouchable guy here. So let's say that the number 2 is a point guard. It's either Markelle Fultz or Lonzo Ball, and they have to give up the number 2. So that's a point guard. So that means that they'll probably be able to keep Jordan Clarkson and D'Angelo, likely. Since they'd be giving the Pacers the number 2. Let's say Julius Randle. I think he's the most expendable of the 3, in my opinion. Okay? So Julius Randle in number 2 and Mozgov or Dang. I don't know that the Pacers would do that.
Right.
It'd probably take more than that. I mean, again, when you take on more, they'd have to even it out. The Pacers would give up. They'd have to even out money wise as far as the contract.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give up one guy for 4 because then you've got money. But the money would be close. But for the Pacers, if George really wants to come for the Pacers, it's like, I got a rookie contract from a kid who could be an all-star, either Fultz or Ball, at a point guard, and a developing power forward like Julius Randle, and then some pieces, to kind of flesh it out. And then they give up somebody else. And for me, I think the Lakers can start to build and start to win. Are they going to win a championship next year? Absolutely not. Whether they get Paul George or not, they're not going to win a championship next year. Let's just hope for the playoffs and they develop. But if you're talking D'Angelo, Russell, Jordan Clarkson, Paul George, Julius Randle, and Z-Bots, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm willing to go through another sub 500 year.
But then you're going to have to find good bench players to be competitive.
Well, I mean, Luol Deng's still on the roster.
Right.
Timofey Mozgov is still on the roster. Larry Nance Jr.
Nance Jr. I think is a nice,
good little player. I'm not as troubled by that. I don't think we need to panic to get Paul George.
Oh, no.
I think the price needs to be right. If it's not right, wait for him to be a free agent next year.
Yeah.
He's a free agent, after next?
Correct.
After next season.
And
next year.
Who are the key free agents this year?
Well, there's a couple of people who are opting out. Kyle Lowry just opted out of his contract. I think I don't know all of who's opting, who is all going to be opting out. Once the playoffs are over, we'll know better who's opting out of their contract,
that's true,
who's deciding to move on and look for a bigger contract. Some of these guys may be willing to, a little like you see in baseball. Some of these guys may be willing to be rentals until the next collective bargaining agreement and see how how.
And talking about the playoffs. You can't be in the semifinals up by 25 and lose that game, even if your best player's gone out.
Vince and I were talking about that before you got here.
It's just you know what you're there in the semifinals for a reason, or in the conference finals for a reason, right? Because you're a good basketball program. Your best player gets out, but he's not 25 points difference. I mean, they can go talk all they talking about, the guy sticking his foot out to sprain his. I think that's the biggest joke I've ever seen in my entire life.
Pop wasn't too happy with that.
But you don't
Right.
you shouldn't lose that game. You shouldn't. You're up.
You
got to
win one on the road, and
right?
That's, now
and you're up by 25. I mean, it's just that either tells you how good Golden State is or how bad you are without that guy.
I bet they get blown out in game 2.
They could, yeah, exactly. And that's where we go back to it. Like, can you just send them to Cleveland or Cleveland to Golden State and get it up? But they're talking about Boston giving Cleveland a run for their money because they got home advantage. But I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah, I think that's just for ratings. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think a well-rested Cleveland team is just going to roll over those Celtics.
Yeah, they've had a week off.
Golden State, for me, I've watched a lot of their postseason games. It never feels like they're out of a game. Because I'm not watching as a fan specifically of Golden State, I can get into it and be very objective and sort of see like, wow, they're not shooting very well. Mm-hmm. Boy, they're settling for some contested shots, or they're turning the ball over. They're just they're looking a little frustrated, or they're just not engaged right now. But I never feel as like this outsider objectively looking at it and not being, not having a dog in that fight, thinking they could come back. Mm-hmm. All they need to do is start hitting a few shots. Mm-hmm. I thought the same thing when I was watching that San Antonio game. Now, I didn't think it when they were down 25. I certainly thought it in the first half when they were down 15, 16 early. And they started chipping away, and then it went back the other way. But I think that, we talked about this a little bit, when Aldridge is playing well. Mm-hmm.
Mills
and Mills, is and they're getting some shots from the wing, from their 3-point shots. They're okay, but it's like a house of cards. If Aldridge stops rebounding and stops being aggressive to the hole, and they can't hit the threes, and Kawhi's going to play good defense, but are you going to rely on 422-year-old Manu Ginobili?
Right.
And now Tony Parker out.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone, and now Kawhi gone. I look at that a couple of different ways. I never thought the Spurs were going to give him a problem. I really didn't. So I was very surprised when they went up against Golden State. I was really shocked to see them up that much. And the second thing is that I after the game I thought, Popovich gets a lot of credit for being a genius and being a great coach, and he lost that game as much as the players on that court. I mean, you got to do a better job of keeping your guys engaged, making the right substitutions, making the adjustments in game. You can't lose that. You can't lose that game. You had them. And that's one of those things where if you're a Spurs fan, you can think two ways. You can either say, we had them, it's all right, we had them, but now you just got to step back, and if you're a realist, you think, no Tony Parker, no Kawhi in game 2, on the road, we're not going to get up 25 again. Yeah. If we get up 6, that's like being down 6, against a team like Golden State. Again, I'm ready to fast forward to Cleveland Golden State. I'm ready to fast forward to Cleveland Golden State. Any hype that comes about, Spurs had them and they're coming back in this game, and they're Popovich is going to find a way. It's like I'm just no, that's just hype. You're just trying to get me to watch that game.
Let's turn the page and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. What do you guys think about Stevie Kerr and his ongoing back issues? Is this going to maybe bring his coaching career to an end? Sounds like he's pretty painful.
I'm just gonna throw basketball out, and just worry about him as a person.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I have have they said that they nicked it or whatever to get the fluid starting or what? But I think he's showing up at practice, and I think that shows a lot of heart to the kids and stuff.
Showing up in the locker room.
Yeah.
To me,
I'm with you, John. I don't know. It's a month by month situation there, but I think he's in a lot of pain. I don't think it's good. Yeah. So
Golden State is set. Mike Brown.
I think he's a great
Mike
assistant
Brown is a
coach.
good coach.
You think Luke Walton has any reservations about leaving if
No.
Steve Kerr doesn't come back?
No, I think the Laker job was a dream job for Luke.
Yeah, probably.
I think for Luke to come in and turn around a team like the Lakers, if he can do that, we'll erect a statue for him. Golden State's not going to erect a statue to Luke Walton. He was a fill-in, and even if Steve Kerr had this health problem and Luke was the second lieutenant there, I just think that's going to be somebody else. It's always going to be somebody else's team.
And
Mark Jackson had it. He had that team.
He did,
right? He had that team. He had those guys, and it's. I mean, it was, I think, dumb to think that he could step out of the broadcast booth and behind on the bench, and it was clear he just wasn't cut out to be a coach. Just wasn't cut out to be a coach, because once you got Kerr in there, they became dominant. They were dominant, and so Walton just sort of was one of the cogs in there.
But I actually think Mike Brown is actually very good for them, because he's a defensive coach. And that's what I think. Am I right?
Absolutely.
And they're okay offensively.
Yeah,
they don't have
no
to worry
worries
about
there.
offense,
Yeah,
right?
that's
They're
right.
going to get you a lot of offense.
Yeah.
But if he can get them to play great defense, it just makes them even better.
I think the problem there is, this is a different NBA than when Mike Brown was taking some, LeBron and the Seven Dwarves, into the deep into the conference final or into the finals, as far as he could, with one all-world player and a bunch of guys who everybody's forgotten about, and I mean, let's be frank, LeBron left and got Mike Brown fired, essentially, because he was a defensive guy.
Yeah.
That was his thing. And LeBron wants to be sort of the coach on the court. That's what he wants to do. Look, no offense to Tyronn Lue, but he's not the coach.
No.
LeBron's the coach.
When you know that there's a coach is when they call timeout and you got the guys looking at the coach. And I see that in Cleveland. Call timeout and these guys get their head, like, just getting my breath back and let me know when they ring the buzzer and I'm get out of here. The only time I actually see them actually look at a guy is for an outbound play, out of bounds play or something like that. Other than that, the coach calls timeout just to get them a rest. Half those
LeBron,
guys,
you got anything to say?
Yeah, exactly. They just kind of look to the sky.
LeBron doesn't have anything to say, so
yeah.
you guys just get a drink, get yourself fresh.
Yeah.
Let's go.
He's just throwing darts against a dartboard. Maybe something might stick, and then somebody, one of the five guys listen. I don't know. I'm with you, Vince. It's body in my mind.
I think the Warriors are set whether Kerr leaves or not. Brown's a good coach. Kerr needs to do what's right for him. I mean, if he can't control the pain, he needs to get that. He needs to get that right. Yeah. But he was in the locker room. Was it halftime of the last game? Right.
I just saw some photos.
Yeah, there was.
I know he's out at practice.
I think it was halftime, because he was saying, "Get 3 stops in a row. That's all you need to do. You're back in this game. Get 3 stops in a row." And so he was coaching him up.
Oh,
so that's got to be good news. And I think that lends, that's evidence that he's going to be able to come back at some point and be fine. So whatever treatments he's been getting, for that loss of spinal fluid and the those headaches and the migraines and the pain in the back that he's been getting, if it's working, it looks like it's working. Otherwise, that's the last place I'd want to be if I had the kind of symptoms that he's been talking about. So.
Yeah. A little bit of baseball?
Sure. Yeah.
John, give us your latest breakdown of the Angel season.
Well, we lose another guy with Escobar going down.
Oh, man.
Our leadoff hitter, and But I like the kid over there at third that they brought up. That's been holding his own over there. The lefty. I have trouble saying his name. Lavar Ball or. I don't know, it's this big. So, it's they split against Detroit, You know, they had a couple good games. Last night, they're facing the best pitching core in the American League with the White Sox. And, you know, they have a American League lead of 3.53 ERA. And the mighty Trout, again, I just find that kid is just absolutely amazing. It's 4 in a row, 4 home runs in a row. I saw the other day that he's the first guy, or he's in a great handful of guys of, you know, I think it's Gehrig and Bonds and these guys that have, or he's the fastest one to go to 150 HRs and 150 stolen bases. He's the quickest one in the majors, youngest to ever hit that mark.
Well, I think I saw something where he and Alex Rodriguez.
But he was the youngest to do it.
175 and 150.
Yeah.
Before their 26th
year. But he's the new thing is by May 15th, this is where he got into with the Bonds and the Gehrigs and some of these is
that's great.
He's got a career batting average career batting average, home runs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, all before May 15th. It was at the best of his career by May 15th, and that put him in a category of some Hall of Famers. He's second, I think, in hitting, and he's third and fourth in home runs, and he's just
home runs in 4 consecutive games. I think Bobby Bonds had the Angel record of 5 straight, so he could tie that tonight.
Yeah, so it's you know, it is what it is. You know, the Kid Meyer is hanging in there. You know, the number 1 draft pick that we had from a couple years ago. He struggled in his first start, but he's come back and he's pitched great. He's got us into the 6th and 7th innings.
7th inning last game.
The Ramirez actually had his first hiccup, and I'm really curious to see how he bounces back. He got hit up pretty hard against Detroit, but overall, you know, it is what it is. It's just still the same as what we talked about, you know, the last couple of weeks. It's another guy goes down, another guy comes up, and you know, it's you know, we're just basing our whole season on we're going to score runs. You know, can we keep them off the bases?
I think that game Sunday, that closer against Detroit, where they got Verlander. Won that ball game. Well,
Verlander's
impressive.
ERA on the road 7 point something. Yeah. But his ERA at home is under 1. So to get him on the road right now is good. Trout hit one into another zip code off of him, which is unreal. On the sad note, I heard about Doug DeCinces, which the ex-Angel who got nailed for insider trading, and he's looking at 13 counts and probably looking at, you know, I don't know, he'll probably get his hand slapped and get about 5 years, but, you know, he's also looking about, they say, you know, 20 years in prison.
Well, they say each one of those counts is worth 20 years if you want to go max on it.
Yeah.
Of course, that's not going to happen, but still.
Right. But I mean, I read about that the other day. Yeah. So.
John, it's Valbuena.
Valbuena, that's what it is.
Louis,
sorry. Valbuena. Yeah. All right.
Know, so
your name of the day is Valbuena.
Name of the day. We should have a little.
Right. Yeah.
Groucho Marx parrot come down with Valbuena. Say the secret word, and you win an extra $100 to split between you and your partner. The good news is the Angels are in second. The bad news is they're 8 games back.
And because Houston will not lose.
No.
They just will not lose. I mean, they went into New York and swept them.
Houston's 14-6 at home, 13-6 on the road. That team's good. That team's terrific.
Yeah.
But the Angels are only 2 games out of the wild card. So there you go. That's something.
So I got that going for me.
You've got that going for you, which is nice. And again, you know the Dodgers. You gotta win against. So they split in Colorado. I hate Colorado. Hate Colorado.
This is recording.
Hate Colorado. Hate Colorado. Hate Colorado. Right? Hate that.
Come on,
that stadium.
We love Buddy Black. Come on.
Hate that stadium. It's just ridiculous. But then the Dodgers pitching staff apparently was pitching in Colorado last night again, giving up another 8 runs to the Giants. The Giants are 5-3 against the Dodgers this year. The Giants are Still in,
They're battling.
they're not in last place anymore. They're 16
battling,
and 24, but 5 of those wins against the Dodgers. Dodgers just need to settle down, win 2 of 3 up there. But I heard a statistic, and I guess it feels right, but I can't confirm it. It was the Dodgers are like 10 and 23 in their last 33 games at AT&T in San Francisco. So 13 games under 500 at San Francisco. I think that's over the last.
And you're not facing Baumgartner either at all.
No.
But there's
tonight it's that black, and last night it was Matt Cain. He loves pitching against the Dodgers. He can't pitch against the rest of the league, but he loves pitching against the Dodgers. There's some encouraging things. I mean, Bellinger has been terrific. Grandal's starting to hit the ball, which is good. Justin Turner, just hitting the ball. He's hitting the ball well. He fields his position well. Seager looks like he's going to just keep building those statistics up. It's for a pitching staff to get bombed like they did in Colorado, that's not unusual. But you got to get past that, and they're playing a lot of games, in a row. They don't get a lot of days off. They were really lucky when they got that rain out, and but since then it's just been like go, and no days off. And so 4 in Colorado. And again, I just want to say, hate playing in Colorado, and I hate 4-game series. I hate it. I hate 4-game series. I want there to be a rubber match. You either win the series or you don't win the series. I don't like splits. I don't like 2-game series. I don't like 4-game series. I like 3-game series. Right. Somebody wins, somebody loses.
That's right.
That's it. That's so. And I especially don't like 4-game series in Colorado. That's the worst. That's brutal. So that's my soapbox for the week on the Dodgers.
But I mean, they're playing good baseball though, and they're hanging in there, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they're only 2 games behind Colorado. Arizona's 2.5 back, and then it's 8.5 back for the Giants, and San Diego's 9.5 back. But they're right there, and they're fine. They're playing well enough. They're only a couple. They're 22-17. The team with the best record in the National League is Washington with 24-13. So they're right there. I mean, they're right there.
They're leading the majors in hitting, and they're 4th in pitching. So you can't go wrong there. That's going to take you a long way.
Exactly. Absolutely. I don't disagree. It's just again, like I say, it's hard when you get those hiccups. This is supposed to be a better team. This is supposed to be, according to Las Vegas, a 90+ win team. You can't get there from here. But again,
long season.
Urias was a victim in Colorado. McCarthy gave up they had one bad inning last night after coming back. Rich Hill and the blister.
What's the update? The blister.
I don't know. Every time I think of Rich Hill, I think of like Topo Gigio. Hello. It's a blister. Yes, it's a blister. So.
Oh boy.
We're
losing it here.
Yeah, exactly.
We are absolutely losing.
That's what I think of.
The heat is getting into us.
That's what I think of when I think of
Rich Hill.
It's just like him looking, you ready to pitch? No, I'm not ready to pitch. With the blister. So hoping for more than 4 innings tonight, hoping that he emerges from this able to pitch in 5 days. That's all you can hope for at this point. There is absolutely no guarantees that Rich Hill is back in the rotation to stay. None. I'm sure the Dodgers will say he is, but this blister has popped
Show
up.
Show it to me. Show it to me.
Yeah. It's like, it just keeps turning up. It's a blister,
John, you want to talk about a little wrap up on the 5th major?
Oh, yeah, sure. Just a little update. It's still 0-0 Predators Ducks at 6:40 left.
Second period?
Second period, yeah. Okay.
And I have an update. The Lakers have not traded their second, the number 2 pick in the first round.
As long as you don't tell me that with your little hand. Right, yeah.
Hello, John.
Yeah. It was exactly kind of what we talked about. I mean, it's anybody could win it, right? I said 50% of the field could win it, and and a 21-year-old Korean kid comes out and wins. And
you won by 3 shots, didn't you?
He won by a couple 2-3 shots. But what was lackluster about the whole event was nobody big was coming down the stretch.
Yeah,
and that's, I think it just kind of brought the whole tournament down. I mean, 16, 17, and 18 where it was showing in their teeth. It was a great finish, but again, nobody made a move. The guys that you thought were going to make moves went the opposite directions. I mean, Fowler, Sergio, these guys. Dustin Johnson was the only one that had a good round. He still hasn't played well there. Media. I'm not saying 2 under par for 4 days is bad, but he's never even really kind of been in contention there. But Sergio made some great moves on Friday and Saturday, and then just I think on the front 9 made a 6 or 7 on a par 4, and again, so Fowler shot 7 over coming on the last day, because the golf course can do this to you if you're not hitting it right, and it was just mediocre at best. So it wasn't. It never had that major feel to it. Hey, happy 21-year-old kid just got a 5-year exemption and won $1 million. And the funniest thing that I saw on social media on Monday, he was sitting middle seat and coach wherever he was going home. And I'm like, dude, he just won over $1 million. I mean, just Wheels Up is right down the street. They can just put you on a. It was hilarious. There's a picture on the internet of the lady taking a picture next to him, and he's middle row, a middle seat and coach, and I was just laughing about it. But yeah, nothing really to talk much about. It's just, it was just mediocre. He was actually he was texting me a little bit because I was in Arizona,
right?
And he's like, "Are you watching Phil and Bones go at it on 17?"
Yeah, his caddy.
Yeah,
they were on the island hole.
Yeah,
and they were talking, but they're back and forth. And apparently, I don't watch enough golf, to know what Phil's like, but apparently he likes to have these debates.
Right, yeah.
He likes to talk it out with his caddy. And they were talking it out.
Yeah.
And he promptly picked the wrong club and hit it bad.
Well, what was funny is he came out and said I was in between 9-iron and wedge. Bones wanted him to hit 9-iron. He hit wedge, and he still hit it over the green. So Bones had the wrong club too, but that can do it. I mean, it's just that's what that hole does. I mean,
right.
you're looking at flags all around you, and you're like, which flags do we actually read? Yeah. And when that pin's back, it's just it's a sucker pin. It's like
right.
Because what a lot of people don't know is the last half of that green kind of goes away from you. So if you hit it on that downslope, it just shoots into the water. So you're going to have to hit it really high. Plus the new greens were on the firmer side.
And that day the winds were gusting.
Yeah,
So you were getting like 6 miles an hour, and then as the guys as they're coming up to address it, it's 12, 15, 16 miles an hour, and so we saw it
coins.
in that same group. I can't remember who it was who hit right after him. He's hit almost the exact same shot.
Oh, Spieth.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth hit almost the exact same shot, and it was like, and his went even higher. His went from about 7 miles per hour to about 16 miles per hour when he hit, whereas with Phil, it was like 12. He went from 6 to 12. But gusts like that, and it's very bad.
Yeah. So it was lackluster at best, but so off to Dallas they go for the Byron Nelson. So some majority of the guys will take this week off, but except if you're a Texas guy. So
anybody have anything else we want to talk about? Rams, Chargers, anything?
Well, I think one of the things that we need to start looking into is starting to get into regional baseball. So we might have UCLA, Cal State Fullerton, USC. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't looked into the Pac-12.
Oh no, USC's not going to be.
They're not going to be in it. So, so that's something to kind of keep an eye on. If once they get to Nebraska, I always like to watch college.
Yeah, I always
that's a cool thing to watch.
And bringing it back one level, our buddy Dave Gallatley, coach of the San Clemente High School Tritons, snuck into the CIF playoffs, and they're going to be facing Notre Dame of Sherman Oaks with a kid who could potentially be the number 1 overall pick in the amateur draft, Hunter Green. Wow. 6'4", 210, 220 pounds. The kid can top out at 102 miles per hour. Mm-hmm. He's a shortstop.
And he hits.
But they've shut him down as far as pitching is concerned.
Right.
But they still got to face him, in the
With the
lineup
bat.
batting, third or fourth or whatever. And the kid is, they're saying, hitting 400-foot home runs. And you're thinking, oh, it's a metal bat, it's an aluminum bat. No, they're talking about, these are wood bat tournaments. And he's hitting the ball 430, 450 feet. The kid is an absolute monster. The issue is he going to pitch? Or is he going to be an everyday player?
And they don't know that yet.
Right, because no right-handed high school pitcher has ever been drafted first overall.
I guarantee this is what's going to happen. The Padres are going to draft him, and he's going to play short and then come in relief, just like that one guy does. Right? He plays outfield, he relieves, he catches. Yeah.
So that article in Sports Illustrated, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I don't remember, 3 weeks ago or a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, he's a cover kid on Sports Illustrated.
That's not good.
And so, but yeah, well, let's see. Hopefully, he doesn't get cursed by that. But he seems like a good kid from a good family, and the kid can just flat out play, and he sounds like he's a bit of an old soul. And the issue there is that it's just never been done where somebody can, the rigors of throwing from short on a daily basis and then coming in to pitch. So they say, look, maybe he can play short and also be a short reliever, but nobody's really ever done that. But if you got him in short relief, now you're denying yourself this kid who is consistently throwing mid-90s, who can top out at 102. That's just nuts. It's just nuts.
And I actually watched some YouTube video of him today, and it's a men playing with boys. He's a big kid. And I'll tell you, I saw him strike a guy out, and then the catcher threw it down the third, and I'm like, look at the size of the catcher. The catcher looked like he was about 6'5", too.
It's interesting because the catcher may go, I don't know the kid's name, but the catcher may go in the draft as well. They've been a battery since they were 11 and 12.
Wow.
Yeah, they've been playing together for 6 or 7 years, together on like a club team or an elite type team, travel team, and then also in high school. So they know each other, and they're going to be great. And that kid has a big chance of being drafted in June as well. They're getting some good crowds, and we wish our friend Dave Gallatley luck with that. He's going to need it. But you never know.
Well, if we were going to talk about it a little bit more in depth, El Toro beat Notre Dame 12-4 early in the season. We beat El Toro this year, lost to him the other two games 3-2 and 2-1. So we've been very competitive against because I think El Toro was ranked 2 in the CIF division.
Right, in the division, right.
So we played them very competitive, and they have 4 or 5 kids that can go D1. So if that's the case, I think if he does it the right way, he's going to motivate these kids to go, you got a chance here.
Yeah.
You just don't. It's one guy. There's 9 guys that play. There's one guy.
They've got a puncher's chance, and they've got that transfer kid from Laguna Beach Bruncians who can mash as well. I mean, they're talking about him, a possible draft. He's only a junior. Amateur draft as well. And he's on the radar for a lot of people, and they've been measuring his exit velocity, and it's not close to 100 greens, but it's he's a pretty kid can rake as well. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's fun. This is great because I looked at the Division I playoffs for CIF baseball in Southern California, and it is loaded from top to bottom. I mean, anybody can win this thing. Yeah. I mean, you got 4 of the I don't know, probably got about half a dozen to 8 teams that are all private to some of the public. Yeah. So
it was Huntington Beach was number 1, El Toro number 2, Notre Dame Sherman Oaks 3, and then I can't remember who was 4th.
Yeah,
we were talking about that, but I think it's another
private school, Orange Lutheran or J. Sarah.
I can't remember. I don't think it was.
Yeah, it's I looked at it and I'm like, wow, this is going to be quite interesting. So should be fun to watch.
Yep.
So, but no, other than the Preakness is Saturday. Get the Preakness.
Saturday.
It's this Saturday. I think we've got 5 of the horses that were in the Kentucky Derby going. Always Dreamin' is the favorite, and I think it's Empire. Empire is second favorite, and then other than that, it's just going to be it's only a 10 horse field.
That's a little bit more civilized.
Yeah. So it should be quite interesting. I don't know what the weather report's like, but
When are they going to draw? When do they have the draws for position?
it's right about now. It's usually Tuesday or Wednesday they do that, actually. So, but the morning odds, I got the morning odds for you.
Yeah,
There you go.
let's hear 'em.
Yeah. Always
Can
dreaming.
you read them with your hand?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Always. Yeah, there's only one guy that does that. Always Dreaming 4-5. So here's your favorite. Classic Empires 3-1, and then it starts to get quite interesting. So Guinevere is 8-1. Looking at Lee, which is the horse that came from out of nowhere on the number 1 horse to come in second at the Derby, 10-1. And you got Hintz, who was in the Derby, 15-1. Conquest Mo Money, 15-1. Lancaster Bomber, I've heard that horse has a chance to win this race, actually, and you're getting that at 18-1. So, and then it comes, then there's some ones that just got put in here. Cloud Computing, Multiplier, Senior Investment, Team of Art, from 18 to 20-1 to 40-1.
So what do you want? Always Dreaming. What post would be best? Most
Well,
favorable?
it's a 10-horse field, so
Yeah.
Doesn't
you
matter.
can put them anywhere you want.
Yeah.
It's all about the break with that horse and get out front, and So Steve Asmussen, he has 2 horses in there. He has Hints and Looking at Lee. So as a trainer, other than that, Baffert I thought was going to have a horse in there, and I guess he didn't get one in.
He's going to take
Or he's going to go to the Belmont. I don't know. But there's a lot of horses out of the Derby that McCracken will not. I just ran. McCracken will not go into the Belmont, which that would have been a horse that has a chance to win the Belmont. But I think you're going to see a lot of horses that you saw in the Derby going in the Belmont. So
Interesting race.
yeah, it should be. Yeah. It's always fun, So it's always fun if Always Dreaming wins, because now he's going to be going into the last for the Triple Crown. So, but
That's
it's
what
always
the
that
networks-
hardest. That's the hardest one to win is the Belmont, because when you get to the turn, you still got forever to get to the finish line. So, and it becomes a cattle call.
Well, that's what the networks want. They want somebody going for that.
Right. Exactly.
Crown.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that's about it.
All right.
That's yeah. So.
Yeah.
No other updates or?
No,
I think we've covered it all.
Yeah.
For this week.
Oh, updates with the hockey. Hold on a
there
second
you go.
here. Let me get
I'll
that
remind
for you.
our listeners too. If you want to be a part of the show, you can click on the
1-0 Ducks,
Nothing else.
how much time we got?
and it was Corey Perry.
Your boy.
Yeah,
Or your girl when you call him Katie.
Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. Yeah. Yeah, and that's minute 20 left in the second, so it's almost done.
That's good news for the
yeah,
Ducks.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right. I guess that'll do it.
it's always a
Till
good way
next
to
week.
end the whole.
That's right.
Yeah.
On an
So,
upnote.
so SoCal Sports Report.com. My new article's up.
Okay.
It's
My
up.
open letter to
Yeah, and
Magic Johnson
you
and
did-
Rob
yeah.
Pelinka. So
It's there.
encourage people to
Got
check
you on,
that out.
Got you on page 1. And I want to remind listeners too, if you want to be a part of the show, we're not able to take live calls yet, but if you go to the icon on the right side of every page, be a part of the show, click on that. You can send us an email of a voicemail. We will record that and put that on next week's show. Answer your questions, your concerns, your criticisms. So be a part of the show if you'd like. We'd love to hear from you. And that'll do it for tonight. We are out.
Peace.
Good night.